we were talking for a really long time before it started recording, so it sounds like someone's walked in halfway in a conversation.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Here we go. So, Daniel Macri, we have 36 questions. Got them written all down on these bits of paper here. I recently rewatched all of The Big Bang Theory, and this is the same set of 36 questions that Penny and Sheldon go through in one episode to get to know each other better.
All right, let's do it.
Cool. I thought that was really cool because, like, sometimes with those shows where they're talking about science, the science is really bad. It's really off. But this was one of the times where they've taken something that's used heavily within a certain part of science and they used it on the show, which was I really appreciated.
Actually, that's one thing with Big Bang Theory in general. Both all the science they quote in the show is accurate, and then all the nerd culture that they quote the show is also accurate as well.
Not all science is accurate. Amy Farrah Fowler really gets on my nerves some episodes.
Ooh, okay.
And the actor that plays Amy Farrah Fowler is neuroscience, and she knows she's saying something's wrong, but it's funnier. Like it's a better joke when she says the wrong science. However, I think it's the second last episode, she does correct Sheldon about the role of dopamine and endorphins. To say that dopamine is the anticipation of reward, not a reward chemical. Which, being a dopamine researcher, I'm like, yeah, we go on back. You know, all the wrong information gets out there. But so for the most part, they're pretty close, except where the joke they're making is funnier if they use the popular culture information.
Yeah, I mean, fractionally disappointed to hear that because I did like thinking, hey, this is real accurate and they're still making it funny. But like, I can understand. I mean, but yeah.
Anytime they make a neuroscience joke, Diane will look at me. Is it really like that? And then 9 out of 10 times, like close enough. But a lot of the times they take a few liberties. But it's a sitcom. They're meant to. It's not meant to be. It's not a documentary. They're not teaching.
I mean, look, if you're relying on Big Bang Theory for all your neuroscience knowledge, you're probably going to the wrong place to start off with. So
it's probably better than Instagram, though.
I mean, that's not difficult, though.
Oh man, let's do the questions.
All right, let's do it.
Given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest?
I think still the same answer. I thought before. Probably want my dog. Don't get to see him as much as what I'd like to anymore. I mean, he's doing a good job of looking after Dad for me, but yeah, miss having him around. It's fun to have around at dinner time.
Mm. That's Atlas, right?
Yes.
Tell us about Atlas.
So he's 8 years old now. Blue Staff, half American, half English. Little chunky fella, built like a wine barrel on legs. But yeah, just he's friendly. He's fun to have around. Like scratching his belly and making him make all sorts of funny little staffy sounds like he does.
He sounds like you.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what Mum's always said, that Atlas is like me.
When we scratch your belly, you make funny sounds.
I do. That's true.
All right. Number 2, would you like to be famous, and in what way?
Look, probably not, to be honest. I think everyone likes, in theory, that like the perks of being famous, but like I don't think I would really want to be legit famous. Like, I mean, you look at, like people who, top tier fame kind of people, you just can't even have a normal lifestyle. I mean, from the small amount of public notoriety I've had through a couple of, TV ads and a couple of things on the news, and even very short-lived, but for a couple of days or a couple of weeks afterwards, you get people coming up to you going, "Hey, weren't you this guy from that thing?" And sometimes it's kind of nice, but then some of it starts to feel a bit creepy, and I kind of feel like if I was a much higher level of fame, that would get really annoying. I mean, the perks of being fame in terms of financial freedom always seemed fantastic. But I mean, I don't know. I like being a bit more of a hermit and not having to deal with people that much. So
So
don't think I would want to be that famous.
those ads that you did, take us back. What was the first ad?
First one was the RAC ad, which was like, oh god, like 10 years ago now or something like that.
It was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just before I did the world's greatest shave. So I'm trying to maybe even 12 years ago. That was a while back.
I want to say I wasn't living in Perth when you made that ad,
I don't think you were.
so it
It was,
must have been at least 11 plus.
yeah, trying to.
I remember the ad well, and I remember. I know I pointed out to people in the Northwest when it would come on, like GWN, and go, "Yeah, know that guy."
It's still floating around YouTube a little bit. So if you want
Really,
to find it,
really.
yeah,
What
just
was the line? What was the line again? You were replacing somebody because it was so important that RAC people went off to do their job straight away or something.
yeah, that was. Look, if anyone wants to see it, just Google RAC boxing ad, and it'll pop up there. And the whole premise of the ad is an RAC worker who's doing a training session in. Actually, it's a really cool gym. It used to be Tommy Greenwood's Boxing for Fitness. I actually trained there a little bit when I was younger, mainly just doing some cardio, try and keep myself fit for rugby and gridiron. But like, I don't know if you've ever been in the place, but you'd love the aesthetic of the place, like hardwood floors, and it's like an old heritage sort of looking building. But anyway, so RAC employee is there, doing a boxing session with someone. He ducks down to avoid a punch, and then I sort of stand up in the guy's place, and I'm sort of standing on a box to make it look more impressive. So I'm 3 feet taller than this guy. And the guy kind of looks at me and goes, "Oh, where's Sean?" I go, "Oh, Sean's helping someone, so I'm filling in."
That's the one.
Yeah. And then it cuts to Sean helping someone with his, with their car, and Sean's still got his mouth guard in. So,
yeah, it's good ad. It was good fun. Jeff's being a little bit of a attention seeking first thing in the morning. So
I get it.
What do we got for him? Let's give him a treat. That's how we do it, Ryan. Let's get him back into. Come on, in you go. All right, there we go. Safely back in his crate. When you make telephone calls, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say?
I mean, to a friend, generally not. Like formalized phone call, probably. Yeah. I mean, I had to make a couple yesterday, and it's. Yeah. Look. Yes. Definitely knew exactly what I was gonna ask the person, exactly how I was gonna ask it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm the same with formal phone calls, but less so with friends. But I've always done it. I don't know why. I think I just used to get anxious as a kid. Do you remember how big a deal it was to use the family phone because it was normally in the kitchen, and your dad's like, "That's 18 damn cents you're using right now," and I'm like, "Oh, there's a lot of pressure. I need to get this phone call right." And invariably, whoever picked up at the other end wasn't the person you wanted to talk to. So you had to have a really good. Is Daniel there? Which of course, like I couldn't. I was raised not to be like that on the phone, so you had to have this like formal introduction. "Hello, this is Nathan. I'm such and such's friend. May I speak to them, please?" And so I was always practicing that. So maybe that's why I just kept on doing it as an adult. Like
I think
in
so.
my
I think
head,
it's
I've got this script going of what I'm going to say to whoever answers.
I think it's just habits that carry over.
Right.
Funnily enough, like similar vein, I remember the first time we were out at a shopping center, and as a kid, normally your parents, "Hey, we're looking for this thing," or whatever else, or and you're not doing much of the talking to the shopping center staff yourself. But the first time, Dad was like, "No, you're old enough. You go ask them for the for the Lego, whatever it is that you're looking for."
Right.
And just being like, "Oh shit, how do I talk to this person?" And like every time I now go, walk into a doctor's surgery, or you're at the supermarket asking for something, that memory clicks back into my head.
Right. Do you remember the Lego that you asked for?
It was a castle set. Um, yeah, it was like a small little castle, had a catapult, came with two little guys and a guy on a horse that was that they were chasing after.
Wow. Wow. What would constitute a perfect day for you?
To be honest, I think I'm about to go experience it pretty soon. Like I mentioned to you last time we caught up, a whole 48 hours ago. Um, um, for my wedding anniversary, heading back down to Denmark, to the place where we got married, and accommodation there, as you know, is just absolutely beautiful. Just a day of hanging around there, eating some good food, and not doing very much else.
Yeah, it's spectacular there, isn't it? I think if you had have asked me this question 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, it would have been really productivity based. Like I'd be doing a lot of
Yeah.
stuff in a day, and I think I'm much more with you now. If I could, just hang out on the porch of that chalet down there and just look out over the river, look at the trees, just do nothing for a day, I think that'd be perfect.
I think it's also implication of perfect, like you said, sort of 10 years ago to compare to today. Perfect feels more like a treat than normality, where, it's normal to go to work, it's normal to have tasks to do, it's normal to, have things to get on with. And when you start thinking, oh, what would be perfect right now would be doing, often the opposite of that. And yeah, I think it's that, like just a bit of a break from routine and chance to reset, well, mentally and physically, really. And honestly, that place is just beautiful as well. So that helps.
I bet it does. When was the last time you sang to yourself or to someone else? Actually, both. When did you last sing to yourself, and then when did you last sing to somebody else?
Sung to someone else. Honestly, almost on a daily basis, I'll either sing to one of the animals, like one of the cats walking around the house, or sing to Hannah, and just some kind of stupid song that we make up about whatever we're doing as we're going along. Sing to myself though, and unless the same answer counts, I don't think I ever really. Oh, do you want to say I don't really ever sing to myself? Probably sometime at work, just going around, getting all the fun retail tasks that you have to get done, like cleaning things and changing price tickets and just whatever song's on at that point in time. If it's something half decent, just singing along to it.
What do you sing? Or what do you like to
Um,
sing?
Myself, not. See, I'm like such a non-musical person. When it comes to music, it's just if something's on and it's half catchy and I know the words, which I am so bad with lyrics to songs. Like I know almost like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is probably about the only song I've got down. I mean, Mary Mary Little Lamb, I've got the first half, but the second half, that's where it gets complex, and I got to tap out there. But
Mary needed to pay more attention.
She did.
That's what I took from that nursery rhyme.
Yeah, that's actually a very fair point.
All right, here's an easy one. I think I know the answer. I think everyone so far has gone the same way with this answer, but we'll ask it anyway. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of life, which would you want?
Ooh.
And I guess this involves like trying to think back to when you were 30. I think that what most of us do and go, well, what was my mind like? How sharp was I? How did I think?
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to go, at 30, we were, I don't know, how many injuries had you had by 30? We might need to take it back a couple of years for you, but.
Look, at about the same as I have now, to be honest, but a little bit less wear and tear. Yeah. I guess I need to ask some clarifying questions here. What's the rules of this? So, is the implication?
There's no rules.
Okay,
there's no rules in this. Anything. We make up the rules.
Okay, in that case, if we go the way that you normally progress with aging, it's not uncommon to have maintained a reasonably sharp mind by the age of 90. Like I mean, not 100% there where you were, but like I've met plenty of people at 80, 90 that are still real quite sharp and really know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm yet to meet anyone at 90 who's physically capable of doing anything really impressive. Like impressive for 90 for sure, but not really impressive. So, I mean, I think maintaining, the physical body of myself at 30 would overall net me more overall ability than the mind at 30.
Yeah, that seems fair.
What's the answer that most people gave?
Kind of similar. Like, I think it's your mind growing or maturing over the 60 years of. I think that's where most people go, because you get to have experience and remember it. And who cares if you can't? I think the advantage is maturing mentally and having a physically young body. That's the dream, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
Like, think about how much you know now versus how much you knew when you started strongman, and how much you wish you knew. Like, that's the applying
exactly.
that
I mean,
knowledge to a 25-year-old would be awesome, wouldn't it?
oh, fantastic. I mean, and let's be honest, it's not like we're not going to learn more things over the next, 40 to 60 years of our lives, like there's plenty of things still to be learned. I mean, it's day by day new things that pop up that you had no clue about
True.
before whatsoever.
Do you have a secret hunch about how you're going to die?
I feel it's going to be like, I don't think it's going to be anything super dramatic. I just feel it's going to be like hospital bed, 80 odd years old, obviously being big, organs don't like to cooperate the whole time, and something's going to be sort of slowly kind of breaking down, and I'm just going to, go to sleep relatively undramatically and not wake up, because that's just the way things were heading. Like, I don't feel like it's going to be anything, super notable in terms of, not a Henning Bach death, unfortunately. I mean, but yeah, something less dramatic, I think.
You brought up Henning. Expand on that a bit, if you could.
The death or Henning?
Tell both. Like, I think I love telling Henning stories. Obviously, for both of us, he was a incredibly influential and special man. So let's talk about him for a bit.
Well, I think in order to give the death some context, you've got to know the man. So I was 15, I want to say, or just turned 15 when I first met Henning. I just done my first powerlifting competition, and at this point in time, there was a total of, I think we'll call it 5 powerlifters who were active in Western Australia at this point in time, myself included, who had just started. This is, I think, the darkest times powerlifting had sort of ever experienced in Western Australia, at least. I mean, I think if people think about where powerlifting is now, and they would not believe that there was, the state titles, having 3 competitors, or or things like that going on.
Oh yeah, that early and mid 2000s, it was a wasteland.
Yeah,
I
I mean, you're in a position of, well, 3 decently strong federations going at the moment, and everyone's competition's having, high 30s to, to 50s, sort of competitors, if not more in some situations. Whereas, like, hopefully not to throw Alan under the bus here, but, the Cabo comps didn't happen if you didn't have people like Alan Sharini from the IPF, coming in and volunteering off the books to help out the background, and vice versa. I mean,
yeah.
I've never had any association with the IPF, but that's where we first met, with me helping out at an IPF comp, just because there's no one else around to do it, So
Yeah. I remember you were. I think you were center, or I think center spotter at least 3 of my first 5 competitions in WA.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll go back the other way as well. It was literally the IPF Fed and the Capo Fed, and because there was no social media, and nobody kept a close eye on WA, we all helped each other, which was super fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But
We
yeah,
just
so it was really quiet. That's when you met Henning. You were 15. And for those that don't know or haven't heard the name Henning Bach, if you look up the cover of Powerlifting USA from I think 1988 or 1989, there's a picture of Odie Wilson, the great Odie Wilson, squatting like huge amounts of weight. And for the first time ever, there was someone bigger than Odie Wilson spotting Odie, and that was Henning. He looked like Dolph Lundgren in Rocky IV.
Pretty much. I remember him telling us more about that competition. I think it was Ed Cohen was going for some big Ed Cohen squat. Came down, and Ed Cohen, being Ed Cohen, his, powerlifting suit, which probably did less than what most soft suits do these days in terms of the materials they're made out of, blew out right at the bottom, and Henning sort of caught the bar and stopped it from crushing Ed Cohen. So
there you go.
Yeah, there's. I'm pretty sure there's that same Powerlifting USA, because I've had the pleasure of reading actually Henning's copy of that in his old place with him, and him going through with it and showing me all the different photos there of that 88 Worlds from Fremantle, and he's in the background of almost everything. They had him spot for one session, and then after that they basically asked him to stay there for the whole comp and back spot for everything.
And that's cool. There was some all-time legends at that comp. You had Inaba from Japan, I think he's won more worlds than anybody ever. Who else? I know you said Ed Cohen, Lamar Gant, Odie Wilson. We've already mentioned. I don't think Kirk Kowalski that year, from memory.
No, I think Kirk was still a couple of years off.
But I do know the great Gene Bell. He's told me a bunch of stories now about when he came down as well. So, like, just some of the best of all time. Pretty sure it was Observation City in Scarborough, which is our so APA Nationals next year is finally getting back to Observation City.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah, right.
Is there a date on that?
There is, for sure. I don't know. When I see a whole bunch of powerlifters flying into town, I'll know it's on. And I'll go down and have a look. But if you wanted to find that out, you could always look up the Australian Powerlifting Alliance website. The calendar's there.
Yeah, I'll jump online and have a look. I think you're about as good as me at remembering dates of things that are coming up. So.
I'm not lifting at it, so I don't care. That's the only way I knew dates before.
I don't need to be ready for it. I can just rock up or I won't.
I can just turn up with a coffee and a bag of donuts now. Actually, that's not a whole lot different to when I was lifting either.
It's slightly easier because you're not having to drag your lifting bag around with you.
Right, they don't get in the way of the coffee.
Exactly.
So going back to when you started powerlifting, hardly any people in WA. Henning was one of the people that'd been around or in and out of the sport for a really long time by that stage.
Yeah, he's sort of, I think Henning was at this point more on the way out than what he was in. And then Adam Coe saw me do my first comp, was like, this kid's obviously interested in this sport and seems to have a bit of potential. And we're as desperate for numbers as can be as well. So, let's see if I can get him involved with someone who's going to give him a bit of help and guidance and help him kind of progress. And Henning was just proximity-wise the closest person to us. So, Henning begrudgingly agreed to meet me down at the old warehouse, the original warehouse gym in Fremantle, because I think Henning was sort of the attitude of, I don't really want to be mucking around helping this kid out, and I've got my own things to do, and more out of the sport than in. Did a session with us just to go through some basic technique. I think he saw a little bit of potential there as well, and was like, okay, this kid wants to do nationals. He's definitely got the ability to be there, but he's just without any guidance. He's going to go over there and probably bomb because he's just not going to know the rules of any of the lifts. I've got to at least get him through this first competition. So Henning, it's like, all right, cool, come down this day, and this day. This is squat day. This is bench day. This is deadlift day. We'll have you prepared for this competition. And then doing that turned into me going to my first Worlds as a teenager, which Henning coached me all the way through to as well. And then coached us for another 3 years after that, after having no intention of doing anything again himself. And then he also ended up competing a couple of times alongside us as well. So that was good fun.
Was that Finland?
First Worlds was California. Second one was Finland. The last one was New York.
Right. So which were the ones that Henning went to?
Henning wasn't able to come to any of them with us, unfortunately.
That's a shame.
He came to all of the nationals with me, and then Dad jokes that he's the most successful powerlifting coach of all time because he's coached for 3 days in total, and each one of those days resulted in a world champion. So,
so we need to set your dad up with an Insta account now.
Exactly.
Let's get him writing online programs.
I mean, look, I'm sure he could make it up, and he'd probably be better than half the coaches out there. So,
yeah, probably not wrong about that either.
I was actually trying to say, I think I might have, as I've told you, in the process of moving house, I found a thing of photos the other day. I think I've actually packed it, but it was some old photos of actually my first couple. I think it was my first competition, like that I competed with Henning at the same time. We're doing the teens and masters flight at the nationals in Adelaide. So yeah, that was pretty cool to sort of dig up and find.
Yeah, right. So then I just try to circle us back. We're talking about Henning, and we're talking about the way Henning passed. So Henning was, I don't know, like when I met him, he was quite old, and he was still just strong as an ox. And he was always, no matter what health stuff that he was going through, he was always talking about how he was going back to the gym soon to start deadlifting again.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, on that, he actually, after the last nationals that we did together, he stopped going to the gym for, I think it was about 4 or 5 months. Mm-hmm. And then he called us up and he's like, oh, I'm going back in to do some deadlifts today. I was like, okay, that's good. You just missed it. He goes, no, I think I have to. I'm like, why? He goes, oh, I'm just sore all the time. Like everything hurts. And I'm like, okay, why? He goes, and he's I don't know why he had decided, or quite possibly was true, that without going to the gym and deadlifting to hold everything in place, everything started falling apart. So he was back in the gym getting some deadlifts in to keep himself functioning properly. I think it was just part of the routine. But I mean, up until pretty much I think it was only a couple of weeks before he died at 70-something years old, he was still at the gym deadlifting 220 for sets of 5 and,
double overhand.
Yeah.
with the world. I think I've met Mark Henry, I've met Brad Gillingham, and both his brothers, shook hands with them, and every time it feels like shaking hands with a baseball glove. I say Henning's hands were every bit as large as either of those guys.
I've only met one person who I can legitimately say has bigger hands than Henning, and that was Mark Felix. And his fingers are literally the size of bananas. Like,
okay, yeah, right. Like it's crazy how strong his hands were. I know he had that 330 double overhand axle.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, which is insane.
And he did that in his 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at that number, most of the grip guys aren't getting anywhere close to that. Like 240, 250 is world class, and
yeah, it was stupid, some of the things that he was able to do, wasn't it?
Oh, ridiculous. But yeah, I guess talking about his death, complete warrior person that his whole life. Like, I think we could talk for hours just on stories that he's told us about, things that happened throughout his whole life. And like there's there's a story there for sure. But his wife, sort of convinced him to go to hospital, and they were super worried about, everything that was going on, and his blood pressure was, you normally get your blood pressure and you add the two numbers together. If you get your blood pressure and you look at what it's meant to do normally, and you add the two numbers together, both his numbers were higher than that. Like it was not looking good. But
Yeah.
they were worried about where it was, and they were telling him to sit down. And I think just Henning being Henning was, he'd got tired of sitting around there for 3 hours while they were trying to sort things out for him. And he was just like, "Nah, fuck it, I'm going home."
Yep.
They're all trying to keep him constrained. He pushes everyone off, gets up to walk home, took 4 steps, and that was it. But went out fighting at least. So,
Right. I
funnily enough,
know.
even
I think the whole time I knew him, he was telling me how he was dying and how he was sick and he had this thing wrong and this thing wrong. And then I know 2 weeks before he passed away, he called the chair of powerlifting Australia to see if he could make a comeback and to get his medication cleared and TUEs underway. And I know this person said, "Oh, just sign up. Just don't worry about it. We won't test you." Pretty much, you won't get tested. No one cares about your blood pressure medication or your kidney medication or whatever. And so
yeah.
I love that even right up in his final month, he was still looking for ways to be able to lift and compete and be a part.
Oh, I think I think some I think it just becomes part of you. I think the best description I've had was from Bill Linden, the old I guess
Yeah,
the original head of strongman within Australia. And I sort of this is a couple of years afterwards, and he ended up being at the Arnold's where I kind of did my official like retirement from proper competitive strongman after the tricep injury. No, sorry, it was a year following that, and he was like, "Oh, you're still looking like big and sort of in shape for someone who's retired." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still doing this, and I'm mucking around with squats, and I'm doing this with the yoke, and I want to try and do this." And he goes, "Ah, I thought, you sort of said you're retired." I'm like, "Yeah, I retired from proper competitions, but I still got things I want to do." And he just goes, "Ah, you've been bitten by the iron snake." And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" He goes, "That it's that addiction to to lifting and
yeah.
hitting numbers. He goes, you'll take time away from it. You might have a year off or 2 years off, but you're always going to come back. Like you've been bitten by the iron snake. It's got its teeth in now. Like
It's always going to be there.
yeah,
I remember reading Henry Rollins' essay about barbell lifting and the
yeah,
iron, and just always coming back to it because like what else are you going to do? Like it's become it's a touch point. It's the thing that's always the same. Barbell's a barbell wherever you go.
yeah,
Um, it's really familiar, but but life without it is kind of weird. Um, what? I've been out 8 years now, and I don't think I've ever stopped lifting. Like, obviously, I've lost a lot of size and strength, and
mm,
I'm not chasing totals or chasing records anymore. But man, I can't imagine a life without barbell training in it now. Like, I've been going for over 30 years with barbells.
yeah. I totally get it, and it's I mean even obviously with my big history of injuries to myself, unfortunately, mostly upper body. And there's so many upper body movements that legitimately, I think at this stage, do me more harm than good. But I get
Mm-hmm.
to a point where it's like, like proper barbell pressing used to be, my bread and butter overhead, upper body and particularly overhead movement. I honestly, it every time I do it, it takes me longer to recover than any actual physiological benefit I could be getting from in terms of just messing with joints and everything else, and sets me back further than what it probably gives me any benefit. But I feel compelled, like by moral obligation, that I have to do it at least once a month. Like it feels like it's my sworn duty now. To protect the sanctity of a strict overhead barbell pressing. Where
Right.
no
Yeah.
legitimate reason to do it, but it's yeah, I'm compelled to now.
Let's push on to the next lot of questions because I realize we've done 7 questions in 34 minutes. That's not bad. It's not bad.
Good pace, good pace.
Yeah, it'll make for a really long podcast. Just so
Do it as a,
Ben Wright will have a lot to listen to driving between Mandurah and Perth for a couple of days.
we'll do it as a 3-part series.
Right? We could. I don't know. I've never. I think I've gone over 2 hours a couple of times, but I think we could set a new record today. Who knows?
Let's see what
I got
that's
nothing.
for.
I'm not going anywhere. I got to go buy a pair of jeans this afternoon, and that's my day done.
I've I've got 3 places to go to, and they're all right next to each other, so it's not that big of a deal.
All right, then. So, question 8. Name 3 things you and your partner appear to have in common. So, what's 3 things that spring straight to mind that we got in common?
Between me and Hannah.
No, me and you.
Oh,
So, what do we have in common? Yeah.
oh,
Because we
okay.
got a lot in common, but where does your head go first with that one?
Look, lifting's the obvious, very, very, very easy first one.
Right. I think pretty much everyone I've had on the podcast so far says that first, because I think that's how I meet most people.
Well, I mean, how can you not? Like that's
Right.
that's what first got us to meet each other. I think that's going to try and not go off in too much of a tangent here, but like we've spoken about, people that are powerlifting friends and people that become friends because of powerlifting, you know. And a powerlifting friend is a friend while you're both still powerlifting, you're both actively competing, but as soon as you stop doing that, you've got nothing to do with that person anymore. Whereas obviously we've maintained friends, you know, well beyond powerlifting, and I think, you know, if we had met under other circumstances and neither of us had ever lifted a day in our lives, we'd still be just as good friends regardless.
I think so. I think that's accurate.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is, and this is a very broad answer, I think our attitudes and thoughts towards a lot of things in life are very well aligned.
You got an example of that?
I mean, look, grab the low for hanging fruit here, just like we said about, you know, what our perfect day would be, you know, what you know,
right.
what things seem appealing to us, you know, like what we want out of life, you know, moving forward from here, what we did want, what we thought was important, how we both sort of, I guess, and probably in part because of our friendship to each other, how we've both grown and sort of changed the way that we think about a lot of things. So that's probably the second point there.
I'm going to throw in the third one. I'm going to lead you into it. I think our attitudes toward family and the way, like watching you come through powerlifting and then through strongman. Most people in WA know that if you turned up to a strongman comp for about 15 years, you wouldn't just see Daniel Macri, you would see the Macri family.
Yeah.
And like you guys were, if somebody's doing something, we're all doing it. We're all in.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, it's nice seeing that continue as well, because I mean, everything that I do, my parents, you know, want to be a positive part of, and they're a fantastic family. And I mean, both myself and my wife have said, and we said this is a huge compliment to the, you know, your entire Baxter family. Like, we look at you guys as a family and just think, like, that is how we want to be as a family. Like, the way that you all support each other, you're all there for each other, you're all so close. Like, you like, in terms of like what you guys present as family values, you guys are an inspiration to us, and I legitimately mean that.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I've got a great family. They're pretty awesome.
They are. They're a very cool family.
Let's go. Question 9. For what in your life do you feel most grateful? And I'm just going to help you out here because I know Hannah will listen. So let's change what to who.
Look, that's an easy question. It is my wife. It's Hannah. I mean, she, you know, without putting any effort, every part of my life has become better because of having her around, you know, and it's just her being her. Like, she hasn't had to, you know, do anything, you know, extra specifically to help me. But I mean, it's just the fact that, one, there is an unconditional care there that she has towards me, to make sure that, you know, everything in my life is as good as it possibly can be. And 2, it's just the way that she, you know, and I think we both have this attitude towards each other of basically, if something's important to her, it becomes important to me because it's important to her, and vice versa. You know, I mean, you know what it's like, the complexities of, you know, of training sometimes, and there's certain things that just aren't practical to you know, to do entirely by yourself. So, you know, part of her wanting to spend more time with me, and part of it, you know, wanting to, you know, help me out with what I'm doing. You know, all my heavy yoke sessions, she's out there to, you know, make sure I'm lined up properly, and, you know, gets times for me and helps record videos. And I guess once again, feeding back to a conversation we said, hanging out in the back room at a competition. When do you perform better? When you're sitting there, heavy metal music blaring in your ears, you're having a good fun time, laughing and joking with your friends and enjoying what you're doing. I always perform better with a laughing joke and having fun with my friends. And I can't think of a better friend to have there than my wife to keep me happy and joke around with and enjoy sitting in a garage with. So.
Oh wow! I think that's probably the most romantic thing anybody's going to hear today. That's lovely, man. That's really nice. I think I might I'll post that on Instagram for you and tag Hannah. That's awesome.
I appreciate
like
that.
If you could change anything about the way you were raised, just anything, doesn't have to be big or small or whatever, but anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
Nothing. To be honest, like I don't know. Like I'm sure there's an easy, there's some answers of, I think my parents did a great job of raising me, and I think everything that's happened in my life to this point has made me who I am today. And I don't know if I would be better or worse if I changed certain things. Like you sometimes you go, if I face more adversity, in certain ways, would I, be more disciplined with something? Well, maybe I would be, or maybe I'd be a total scumbag. If I had more resources, would I be in a better position than what I am now, or would I just be entitled and selfish? And I mean, because I look at certain people. Like, I mean, my parents always had they were wealthy enough to more than look after me and my brother, and be very comfortable. But I look at certain families that definitely had a lot more wealth than us, that I grew up with, and certain people have turned out great because they had more resources to do things like go on exchange trips for uni and really sort of expand their horizons and really kind of develop there. And then other people are same age as me, and they basically get by because their parents have a fuckload of money, have given them a bunch of early inheritance. They live off money that they were given and can't hold down a job for more than 3 weeks at a time, because it's just not a thing that they feel they have to go to. Like, they don't have the financial pressure of, I need this job. I've got money, so I just won't show up if I don't want to, and I don't know if changing my life either way would actually really make me better or worse, but I am happy with who I am today. So I don't really feel a need to change anything.
Mm-hmm. I like hearing that. I think it comes back to the adage that you are who you are because of everything you've been through up until now. So if you had have been through a different set of circumstances, you wouldn't be who you are today.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
no.
So that whole sliding door game, I find very interesting to go, well, if this thing had have happened, what would have happened next? And there's no way of ever knowing that. It's not reality.
No, exactly.
But it's all, and I think it's always, I think it's a part of the human condition to, when we played the sliding doors game, like to go, well, if I had have gone left there instead of right, we always think the thing that we didn't choose would have been a better option. And we'll tell a story around, how much better could it have been if I had this or this or this. But like you said, like maybe if you had more money, maybe you would have been a completely entitled jerk. We don't know.
Who knows? I mean, I
or you could have been amazing,
Could have been.
Could have gone either way, or could have been exactly the same as things turned out.
Well, I mean, and I'm sure you would like to have a couple of these crystal ball moments as well, where you kind of think like, okay, you get to a point where, you decide, like, I had some opportunities with American football to kind of, try and go a bit further by going overseas and stuff like that. And I chose not to take them for various reasons at that point in time. Well, what would have happened if I did take it? Would I, how far could I have gotten? Where would I have been? Or would I have just gone over to the, US for 2 years, got absolutely nowhere with it, and come back super depressed? Like,
right, yeah.
I feel like I would love to have the ability. I feel like I'd love to have the ability to know, but also I'm pretty happy. Like, I'm happy with every decision I've made. Like, and I don't really feel like I missed out on anything by making those decisions, because I guess I was lucky enough, and I was in a good enough position where I could make that decision myself, and it wasn't a forced one way or the other. It wasn't a, it wasn't like
it wasn't like something was taken away from you that you had, and then it was removed. No. It was just there's a lot of options, and that's the one I didn't take.
Exactly. I mean, I guess, and this has nothing to do with being raised, but I mean, and I think you'll enter both of our strength careers, neither of us chose for our careers to end when and how they did. It just sort of happened, you know?
Yeah, I don't recommend anybody finish their powerlifting career the way I did. It
No,
wasn't. No,
no, I
there's a lot.
don't.
There's a lot more gentle ways than other than having 5 strokes.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. Yeah, gee, yes, I totally. Yeah. I played. I think I played that game of what if for about a year after those strokes. And what if I had have
Yeah.
done this differently? Would I have? What about this? What about this? And still years on, I still tell the story of if I wasn't in heart failure at my last Worlds and I didn't need a hip replacement, how much more could I have lifted? But the fact that I didn't know either of those conditions were present, I was just sore and out of breath. I did exceedingly well despite those things. And so now in my head, I like to imagine that if I was fit and healthy, I would have won that day.
I mean, I like asking myself similar-ish kind of questions as well. Like, could I have done something different to prevent a lot of the injuries that I had? I mean, possibly. I think there's definitely things I could have done to stack things in my favor
Yes,
a bit more.
absolutely.
But like to some point, part of it's going to be somewhat genetic, and I feel a lot of the injuries would have happened anyway. But maybe I would have got 10 years more before they happened. Maybe I would have got 5 years more. Maybe I would have got 3 weeks more.
And let's face it, the way you lift and your determination and persistence, a lot of that was developed because of injuries, not despite injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
I think anybody that's had a major injury and come back, you realize how much of a gift that injury was to the rest of your life, the rest of your training, by being able to work through it and overcome. I think it's a huge competitive advantage for against people that haven't had that kind of adversity.
Oh, exactly. But ultimately what it boils down to is I made what I felt was the best choice for myself at that point in time. I backed myself that was the best decision that I could make and saw it through. And unfortunately, sometimes in life, a lot of things don't turn out exactly how we wanted them to. And the reality is, it's not a video game. I can't load up a previous save, go back and do it over again. Now I know what's going to happen. Like, I got to progress forward from here. Like, there's not a reset. This is where we are now. We can either move forward in one way or another, or we can not. That's the options.
Let's go on to the next question now. It says, take 4 minutes and tell your partner, which is me, your life story in as much detail as possible. But it's 4 minutes. You got to do your... I've listened to your stories about going to buy burgers at the shops. I think if you can keep any story inside 4 minutes, maybe we should work out some kind of prize for you. I'll drive some. I'll go to the bakery. I'll go to that really nice bakery, and I'll drive croissants to Bunbury for you if you can keep this to 4 minutes.
All right. What about if we do it this way? Pretend we've made a it's a 42 DVD long set of me going through all the stories of my life. But now I've been told I've got to put a blurb on the back that has to be like 3 sentences or less, right? And I'm going to give you that blurb. That's my challenge here.
Your life on Twitter. You got limited characters.
My life on old Twitter, where we only had like 144 characters. Not today, where there's long tweets that you can spend 17 weeks writing.
I departed Twitter years ago before it got sold to X. I don't know what happens there now.
Gladly. I know vicariously. But anyway,
it looks like an interesting place, but I don't want to visit. I don't even want to visit anymore. I've had enough. All right, so your blurb.
All right,
here we go.
All right, so Daniel Macri's life is a adventure starting in team sports like rugby and American football, progressing into strength sports, moving through powerlifting into strongman, and then his life beyond and after, relationships with family, and other interesting stories along the way. Stay tuned.
Have you ever seen the blurbs, like the descriptions of shows on Stan on Netflix, and it's a movie that you've watched like 100 times, and you go, that description, I don't know how they did that, but that's impressive. That
Yeah,
sounds like a movie I've never watched.
yeah.
I think you just did that for anybody that knows you. That's a movie that they go, wow, really? That's interesting.
Half the stories are about me losing
Here
my
we go.
keys, so it's not that interesting.
All right, question 12. If you could, and I think we might take a break after this one because I'm getting tired.
All
If
good.
if you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one quality or a bit of ability, what would it be?
Could a quality be that my ankles don't hurt as much? Like, does that count?
Yeah, that's a quality. Yeah, sure.
Um, Look, in all honesty, the one would probably like realistically function on my right pec back because I just feel that there's been so much weird carry on from that that's kind of caused so many other issues. Like that'd be the one that I'd really want to get back in terms of a quality.
Mm-hmm.
Ability, I mean, always trying to immediately think of something marketable or that you might be able to use somewhere you like profitably. But on the other hand, I'm also like if I really wanted that ability, I would put the time and effort into acquiring it. Like
Mm-hmm.
clearly, it can't mean that much to me if I have done zero about it to begin with. So
Right. Yeah, it's true. That's true. Hey, what? So tell us about your ankles. Like I know a little bit about what's going on there, but explain why your ankles hurt, or why we think your ankles hurt. Like what's probably the result?
um,
Sorry, cause, not the result. The result is the pain in your ankles. What do you think is the cause of it?
I very much find it fun to pick up, you know, 500 to 600 kilos on my back and move it for short distances out my garage with my wife. And I think it's the most fantastic thing I could possibly spend time doing.
Right?
Yeah.
Some people walk their dogs at night. You walk your yoke.
Yeah.
You walk a 550 kilo yoke.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
That's what I
see.
do. Yeah, I think it's just accumulation of my body weight plus that much weight plus everything else kind of just
Just wear and tear.
yeah, pretty much.
What is your biggest yoke?
Uh
Oh, sorry, not biggest, heaviest. Heaviest yoke.
650, the one that I did a couple of years back when you
Yep.
came down to Bunbury is still the biggest that I've completed the run for.
Mm-hmm.
Um I mean I've not frequently that I'm actually moving anywhere like, up to 600 is sort of the most I really move in training and for much shorter distances, just, not burning myself out in the process of get to the point where I want to be. But yeah, I mean, frequently in training, like 570 has become my new working number. So there's been a lot of volume at 570 that's been happening recently. And then, doing, multiple picks and holds at, up to, 670, 680 recently. So yeah.
Yeah. these these numbers, even to strong people and people within strongman, are just absurd. Like no one, there's not really a lot of people worldwide that talk about these training numbers. To just go, this is a thing. This is even on the horizon.
I think there's a handful of people out there for sure. Like there's probably a good amount of people out there for sure that could be doing the same sort of thing. I mean, but most of them are guys that are focused on much bigger competitions and it'll be detrimental to be doing this much yoke volume if they've got so much other stuff to, or yoke intensity rather, they've got other stuff to focus on. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I
These are names like Novikov and Lisis and Stoltzman, isn't it? Right.
yeah,
These are the other
pretty much.
people that could do this possibly.
Yeah, I mean, Mitchell Hooper, I have no doubt could do it if if that's what he wanted to do. You know, every now and then you'll see.
I imagine whatever Mitchell Hooper puts his mind to over the next 10 to 15 years, he'll achieve it. He's a
100%.
phenomenal athlete, isn't he?
Oh, I mean, I remember seeing a video a while ago where, like, look, I'm not there watching his training, but from what you do see, like, it looks like he's focused on winning competitions more than he is anything else. But he was just in the UK for something, and then just decided to do a 590 yoke for 3.5, 4 meters just out of nowhere because he hadn't done any really heavy yokes in a while. You're just like, that looked really good. Like,
it's incredible, isn't it?
Oh, he is the standard when it comes to strength athletes for sure. Like, I mean, anything, like I said, anything he sets his mind on, he becomes good at. Like, it's
yeah,
ridiculous.
All right, so that's set. Question set 1. There's 3 sets of them, 12 in each. So we've done the 12 questions. We're almost at the hour mark. I reckon let's take a little bit of a break and we'll come back to it.
Yeah, no problem.